welcome to the channel. Please, if you like what I say, and subscribe. I'm not a big YouTuber, I'm not anything, I'm just a guy that just likes talking stuff, okay? I don't have fancy. Anyway, so, what, as you may have guessed from this was recorded on Father's Day, okay? So I got a card, so my box of chocolates and stuff. And I feel now like banging my head off the desk because I want to, because every time I introduce something, it comes over and it turns my camera off. So this is like my 5th time, and it's just like this person to be mischievous, to be bad, right? So as I say, it's Father's Day, and It's like, yeah, we got a car and everything, but we got the greatest gift of them all, which is like Zack Snyder's Justice League. There's no other present in the world that can compare to that, okay? I've been like telling the kids, go forth and tell everybody the Snyder's Cut's coming. Okay, Dad, but I don't know if they're interested. Just tell them anyway. Tell them if they're not interested. Tell them. Get them excited. I'll buy them the box set. Okay, by the way, the Snyder Cut's coming. What's the Snyder Cut? Snyder Cut's the Justice League movie. You've seen the Justice League movie? No, this is like longer and it's got more. Oh, good. Where is it? When's it coming out? Oh, well, it's coming to HBO Max, and it won't be. It's not in the UK. Oh, but doesn't matter. Get the word out there. Right, let's spread the word, and hopefully one day it will come globally. Okay, we've seen like in the video DC fandom that there's a possibility there. So and I was up at a friend's house, and like he had this building out in his back garden. It was and he's just moved in, and they've cleared it all up, and it's like a whole wee building to itself in the garden, so you can do anything you want. Turn it into a cinema room. Turn it into. I'm like, my God, I would get like furniture. I would get all my statues and my DC pictures and everything else up in the wall. That's like a really dream come true for me. But instead, I don't have a man cave anymore. It's all women caves and everything else, so I can only sort of dream. I have a better backdrop than the wallpaper here. So anyway, without further ado, what I want to talk about is Suicide Squad. It seems that James Gunn can't stop talking or hyping up his movie, which is a good thing. You should always hype up the movie. Now, I wasn't particularly big on James Gunn coming forward and directing a Suicide Squad movie, because I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, and the only good thing about that movie was the music attached to it. And I don't know if the second one got ruined by the studio, whatever, Marvel Studio, but for me, David Ayer knows Suicide Squad, and as we know, we have the David Ayer released the David Ayer cut, a film that would have had parademons in it, the introduction to Steppenwolf. We would have had more Joker, more character development, and people say, oh, he doesn't know how to do character development. Yes, he does. I've seen Fury. I have seen how he handles people and everything else, and how he's just trying to get his film out there. Sadly enough, it's not the thing with the Steppenwolf isn't in his film. He wasn't allowed to shoot that. But what he did help to create, and sadly we've not seen her looking as good yet, is this person. Now here we go, okay? Every time I introduce this woman, she turns it off. Okay, so I'm being very careful with this crazy nut person. And we look at this, okay? What do we see apart from hot pants and jacket, ripped t-shirt and a baseball bat? Well, what I see here is a woman who doesn't really care much about how she looks. She's cool, and she thinks now. Maggie Robbie have also said in defence of Birds of Prey that sexiness or whatnot is in the eye of, women think of it differently, and that whatever she was wearing in Birds of Prey and everything else was an okay movie. That to her was a sexy outfit, stuff like that. But men think differently. Of course we do. You hide your legs, you hide this, you hide that. It's not sexy, but somehow women believe that they're attractive wearing that. But what this represents for me is a woman that is strong, that can go into a bar, dress like this, but she's also carrying a baseball bat, tattoos that say what she believes in, maybe who she loves, and as again somebody that is devoted by her chain, and a baseball bat that will tell you where your place is. This for me is a strong character. This is, to me, is comfortable in her own right. So for me, and we get videos, and I've posted videos in some of my subscription channels down below, and I posted it on my old Facebook page, but it's gone now. About people dancing wearing these outfits, and it's become iconic. People bought this T-shirt. People have. I think there's a YouTuber out there that basically copies this hairstyle, and so it's iconic. I can't really see many people copying what James Gunn has got Margot Robbie looking at in his film. But at least he's posting stuff out there. And recently, and I'll read this article from Cinema Blend. The Suicide Squad, James Gunn, won't stop teasing John Cena's character. Now, before I read this, okay, I'm not too clued up in John Cena. I believe, when you can tell me in the comments, I believe he was a wrestler, like they all do, right? But the only film I've really noticed him in was Ted 2. And it was a wee bit at the end, I believe. That's the only thing I've seen him in. I don't know, was he in Bad Neighbours 2 or something? Either which, he didn't leave a lasting imprint on me. So this hype about him is beyond me. Maybe you can convince me otherwise in any comments you leave. But I'll read this article. The DC Extended Universe is constantly changing and growing, and there are some very exciting projects coming down the pipeline. One of the most anticipated upcoming blockbusters is James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which will be a soft reboot to David Ayer's 2016 movie. What is a soft reboot? What's a soft reboot? Are you confirming that anything that happened? See, I cannot believe in wholeheartedly that a reboot can ever happen, because I believe because of the movement that's slowly starting out there for a David Ayer cut, there are still those people that still appreciate the film, and there's so to reboot it and to say it never happened, I think is really no, especially if you're using the same woman as Margot Robbie. So I'll be curious to find out what this so-called soft reboot is. So what else? A handful of original stars are returning alongside a big ensemble cast of newcomers. And so you've got the old cast coming back. So it's what? Just because it's a different story, you're going to call it a soft reboot? Newcomers in mysterious roles. Chief among them is John Cena. And Gunn seems to be enjoying teasing Cena's identity in the Suicide Squad. James Gunn assembled a huge cast of colour new actors for the Suicide Squad, including Idris Elba, Storm Reid, Michael Rooker, Nathan Fillion, and Peter Davidson. These actors are all playing mysterious characters. As is John Cena, the DC fandom is eager to know which character will be occupying the upcoming villain-centric blockbuster, especially Cena. One fan recently suggested a gaggle of possible characters, to which the filmmaker responded with, well, so I don't know. So he's posted this sort of thing here. There's the other ones there. So I'll read that. These are my suggested characters, Sir Jordan goes on. John Cena should play in the Suicide Squad 2 movie directed by James Gunn. Left to right, Bane, Black Spider, Copperhead, Deathstroke, KG Beast, Solomon Grundy. I can't see him playing Deathstroke. I honestly believe that role has... Yeah, I cannot see anybody else playing that. Apart from... What's his name that was in the credits at BVS, who was also in... No, the credits of Justice League. He was also in Rampage. Name escapes me. Anyway, he's got a funny name. Likes Dungeons and Dragons though. Well played, Gunn, because while John Cena seemingly play a variety of characters within the DC Extended Universe, the public will have to wait and see who James Gunn cast him as for the Suicide Squad. But according to Guardians of the Galaxy director, the answer isn't going to disappoint. James Gunn shared his latest tease for Suicide Squad on his personal Twitter account. The filmmaker often uses social media to communicate with fans, and that seems to be the thing. I mean, I don't know who started this corresponding to fans, but it seems to work, you know. The only person I know director who talks to fans is, of course, Zack Snyder, who's done it for the last few years, has used Vero and so forth. So I think other directors must be taking note of this, you know, because I think after the Snyder Cut, David Ayer then got, well, listen, my film was tarnished. Can I come on board? And now you have James Gunn coming on board and everything else. And it seems that this is what's to be expected of directors now. The upcoming installments in both the DC Extended Universe and Marvel. And to go back to that, I think it should be, because you don't want this biased media out there posting lies about your film. So I believe full-heartedly, especially if the actors are getting behind the directors, that is a good sign that everybody came on board, you know. And I know Henry Cavill was in question because he didn't tweet, but I think he was playing the safe game in order to try and to maintain his role as Superman. And if he was seen to go to one side, he may have lost that role, you know, because of J.J. Abrams. One such fan offered six suggestions for characters John Cena could play in Gunn. John Cena was a hulking physical presence, which makes him perfect for plenty of superpowered characters. DC Law, one of the most recognised, is Bane. He shares a history of wrestling. It would be epic to see Cena to use the villain's signature black breaking move in the Suicide Squad, although we recently treated to Tom Hardy's iconic version of that in The Dark Knight Rises. Another character, Solomon Grundy, the iconic villain, is a murder victim who was brought back to life as a powerful zombie creature. Grundy would be epic. An unexpected choice to play in the Suicide Squad. I can't see him being Grundy, can you? Because if he was Grundy, you know, I don't think he would have much of a speaking role, really, unless you were doing Grundy from Gotham. That's for on this page. There's not a character for him to play. Make Grandy's first appearance. Supergirl. Deathstroke is also surprisingly including included in the list, despite the DCU already having its own. Joe DC already having its own. Joe Manganiello. While he hasn't had much screen time, he's shared universe. Manganiello debuted Slade Wilson in the post-credits scenes of Justice League, which I was just saying. The scene was meant to set up a sequel, which was canned, following the movie's disappointing box office and Deathstroke's future. Overall, there's no telling what James Gunn has in store for DC fans with Suicide Squad, but the movie's large cast seeming to hint that many of them will not make it out of their first mission alive. It's currently set to arrive in theatres on August the 6th, and it's used for me, big cast names doesn't mean anything, okay? I like casts to have a lot of unknowns. It worked for Star Wars. It worked for many movies, because when you see somebody that's big, you can only see them being, for instance, if Al Pacino was in a DC movie, okay? Granted, I've seen him in Hunters recently, and I don't know, he's just lost that sort of magnetism that he had for Scarface in films like The Godfather, but there's still that Al Pacino thing there that you just couldn't see him as anything else apart from Al Pacino. That's Al Pacino! So sometimes it's not go big, but a lot of deaths, that's fine, still doesn't make a good movie, okay? And what I believe is David Ayer had a bigger, maybe he might have had a bigger role for Slipknot that didn't really last that well and didn't have a big part in his movie. Who knows? But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. What are your thoughts? Going back to Deathstroke, there was an animated trailer out for Deathstroke. It didn't really sell me as much. I don't know if it was the animation, but is it worth a buy? I would have bought it. See if they were going to go back to Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke, I would have made some sort of cartoon that had him fight with Batman. That's what I would have done to try to sell the idea of the movie. See how that turned out. Or maybe they've just released this Deathstroke trailer to see how big this character is, to maybe have a Batman versus Deathstroke movie, or even a solo movie of Deathstroke. But I think any DC character out there is worth a solo movie. And maybe we can go back to what was originally thought of as some sort of DC Dark, where we look at the villains, like we had Joker movie. We can all take all these villains and tell their story, which is probably, some of them are more interesting than the heroes one. But let us know what you think about the upcoming Suicide Squad. What do you think the future is for Harley Quinn following the non-successful thing at the box office? Again, studio interference. But I think the fans and all that can agree that this Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, this sort of look, it's not been sexist, it's not been thingy. We all love our heroes and villains to have this physique, whether it be a man or female, so we can have these sort of fantasy images of our heroes and villains. That's all it is. It's very little. Women go to see Jason Momoa, and I don't think that's for script or acting. You know what I'm saying? Well, anyway, thank you very much for the video, for watching. Please like, subscribe, check out the other videos, the other video channels as well I've done. Thank you very much.